Hi friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and Brill and I are here today to actually talk to you about some of our favorite books that we've read so far during quarantine. Look, this pandemic has been really hard on everyone, right? Everyone is anxious and worried. We can't do some of the things that we love to do, and we may feel cut off from a lot of the people that we love. But I think that books and stories can really help with this. Rivka Galchen said recently in the New York Times that stories are life-saving. Reading stories in difficult times is a way to understand those times and also a way to persevere through them. I've always believed this about books, but I think it's especially true now in these really troubling times. So here are a couple books that I've read in the past few months that I think are just phenomenal, and I hope that you'll like them too. The first book is called Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. Now, this book actually caught me by surprise. I hadn't heard anything about it, and this cover pulled me in, so I decided to take a chance on it, and I'm so glad I did because it is wonderful. So it's basically the story of these two friends named Lillian and Madison, and they both went to a boarding school together when they were younger. They're both adults now. Lillian went there on a scholarship. Madison's parents had a lot of money, had a lot of political influence, so there was a real divide between the two of them that existed when they were teenagers and that still exists now. Now, the story begins when Madison calls Lillian because she needs her help. She has two stepchildren who are very, very special. And special in a way that is a little bit different from what you might think. Because they actually spontaneously combust. Crazy, right? They catch on fire, these two kids. Doesn't hurt anybody, but it can cause a lot of damage. And the kids are fine afterwards, but if they get emotional, upset, wanting to throw a tantrum, boom, up in flames. Kind of crazy. So Madison wants Lily to be a babysitter and caregiver for these kids because her husband is high in the political sphere, and she needs to go out with him campaigning and really wants these kids kept on the down low. You wouldn't think this is a funny story, but it's absolutely hilarious, and I was not expecting that. There were so many times where I just actually laughed out loud because I couldn't help myself. But it's also a very serious story, too. It has a lot to do with class divides. It has a lot to do with parental love. And it's also really short. It's only about 250 pages, so you can blow through it pretty quickly. It's a really great read. The second book that I'd like to talk to you about is called Dear Edward. And that's by Ann Napolitano. And this book is also, if you're interested to know this, it's a Read with Jenna book. So it means that it is actually one of the books that was featured in Jenna Bush's book club discussions. So this book is about a young boy named Edward who is 12. He is on a plane with his mother, father, and older brother visiting family, and the plane crashes. Everyone on the plane dies except for Edward. Wow, that's really bleak, right? It sounds like a bleak book. It's not. It's a sad book, yes, but it is so beautiful and uplifting and hopeful because the families of the other passengers that died feel that Edward is just this beacon that they can reach out to. They send him letters letting him know about their family members that have passed in the crash. They want to know about him. He gets to know about the families through these letters. And it's also a way about him moving on. And how do you move on from such a devastating loss? It's a beautiful book. Absolutely beautiful. I'd like to read you just a small passage from it, just so you can see what I mean. This news story has captivated the world. Every corner of the internet has weighed in. A reporter holds up a copy of the New York Times to a camera to show the huge block headline, the kind normally reserved for presidential elections and moonwalks. It reads, 191 die in plane crash. one survivor. The relatives have only one question when the press briefing comes to a close. They all lean toward it like a window in a dark room. How is the boy? Information about anything and anyone related to the crash continues to be inhaled, so television and internet pundits continue to speculate. Were the pilots drunk? Did the plane malfunction? Is it 100% certain that this wasn't an act of terrorism? Did one of the passengers go crazy and rush the cockpit? Was it the rainstorm? Google Analytics show that 1 week after the accident, 50% of U.S. online searches are related to the crash. Why is it, an old news anchor growls, that out of all the terrible news in this terrible world, we care so much about this one downed plane and this one little boy? Wow. What a book. It's amazing. Like I said, it is sad. It is a sad book, but it's also so beautiful and uplifting and just leaves you with this sense of hope that anything can get better. You can get through anything. Well, that's all I have for today for you guys. I hope you liked those books. If you are interested in them, we have them both at the Farmington Community Library, so please feel free to put them on hold. Our curbside service is available at this time. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great week.